What's your score today?
My score is probably a 6 or 7 today. That's where I am. I'm never really, as like an 8 or 9. It's very hard to be that for me, losing my daughter. You just, you think about, the loss of her, the reality of it, what it does to you mentally. It stops you from really enjoying the moment because your daughter or the one you lost is always on your mind.
Rough time. I made it through the tough time. I made it through the bad time. So now I gotta get mine. Gotta weather the storm. Gotta get mine. Gotta weather the storm. I gotta get mine. Gotta weather the storm. Okay. One day we gon' get on. Talk to 'em. You ain't got a choice.
Welcome to Bailey and Buck Unplugged, where we talk about sports, entertainment, and mental health in support of the Kennedy Kids Foundation. If you're struggling with mental health, we encourage you to speak up and get help. A great place to start is 988. That's the free crisis prevention lifeline. Or you can check out the resources tab at kennedykids.org. If you are in an absolute emergency, please dial 911. Either way, we want you to know that you are not alone and that you don't have to struggle, and speak up, get help. There are resources available to you, and we are here to support you. If you're new around here, I want to introduce you to our host. I am Misty Buck. I am an author and a mental health and performance coach. And my co-hosts are Robert Bailey. He is the president of Rosenhaus Sports, the president of Kennedy Kids Foundation. He's a 2-time Super Bowl champion, 2-time college national champion. He's an NFL record holder, and he's an ESPY winner. And we are also joined by Bailey Brooks Mashburn. She is a celebrity wedding and event planner, a former NFL cheerleader, and the executive director of the Kennedy Kids Foundation. Hey, welcome to another episode of Bailey and Buck Unplugged. So today, you get to spend a little bit of time with us, your hosts. We have Robert Bailey, Bailey Brooks Mashburn, and myself, Misty Buck. We're going to give you a quick update on the Kennedy Kids Foundation and what we're doing to help promote teen mental health and prevent teen suicide. And then we're going to get into some personal stuff that maybe we haven't shared before. And so we're really looking forward to it, just having a conversation with you all. And so welcome to the show, Bailey.
Hi, how are you, girl?
How are you?
I haven't seen you in a minute in the flesh, but I'm loving these podcasts and I really appreciate the time. How are you doing, Robert?
I'm doing good. Again, these podcasts have been so great, and a lot of great positive feedback from the fans and the viewers. And for me too, personally, it's helped me. It's helped with my mental health. So I'm extremely excited about moving forward with our podcast in the future and with you guys. And it's been great just being on here with you guys.
Well, yeah, for sure. So Bailey, we definitely want to get that update from you. And then I think let's all kind of think about some of our favorite moments from the show, or at least some of the things that we've learned. We're in season 3 already, which is crazy. So
I love that you said things that we've learned, because there is something I would like to start our show off with today that just popped into my brain. And being a part of Kennedy Kids Foundation, we run a lot of our board through WhatsApp. And one day, I think it was a month or 2 ago, Robert suggested the mental health check-in for everybody to give themselves a score. And it has been like a beautiful thing for a lot of the board members on our team. Great idea, Robert, because legit, like, people have called me and said, oh, I was so thankful that the question was asked and I got to respond, and that there were people who weren't necessarily in my inner circle, but they were more people I felt more comfortable sharing what was really going on with me, because they weren't connected so close to home. And that's a concept I never thought of, because sometimes you're probably not sharing because people are in your business. And so it's easier to share with like somebody who doesn't really, maybe isn't friends with your husband or friends with your kids, to talk to them about your husband or your kids, because then they're not going to go back and be like, that's what she said today, blah, 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 blah. So one of the things that Robert asked us all to do was give ourselves a score. So what's your score today is what I would love to start the show out with before I do the Kennedy Kids update. Just to find out, like, what's your score today, Misty? What's your score today, Robert?
Yeah. So we got that from Dr. Steven Schnur, by the way. He
Yeah.
introduced that on his
Really?
episode. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he
I
said
missed
he
that
said
part.
on that episode, what he does is he texts it's like 5 people, however many are in his inner circle every day, 1 to 10. Where are you?
Yeah.
So Robert was like, let's do that in our board foundation WhatsApp chat. So he
Like
got
like
that going.
it's a text that just comes in the morning, and he doesn't ask. He'll just have like yo, and then he'll say yo, and then after the yo he'll put like 6, and so we all know what that means. Right? So basically, he said, and for the viewers who may have missed his podcast, and if you want, you can go back and watch the Dr. Schnur, Steven Schnur guest on our Bailey and Buck podcast. But basically, he said that 1 is the bottom and 10 is super great, and he said most people in the world are between 3 and 7. And if you just understand that's just a normal range. 3 and 7 is normal, right? There's some days you're going to be 3, and there's some days you're going to be 7, and in between. But if you fall below a 3, that's when you should seek help. So it's also a way of notifying your friends and family when you do this type of announcement of score, where you are. And so it allows your friends and family to maybe decide, okay, I'm going to check on this person more because in this morning's score they put a 4 or a 5, and I want to find out what's going on more. And it's just a way to open people up, because how many people, we have this podcast for awareness in the first place, right? Because we want to get the information out there. And how many people call someone when they are a 3 or 4 or 5 and say, hey, I'm not doing well today. And giving a score really encapsulates all of that, So I think it's a great little thing that he introduced on the podcast, and I not only do it with you guys and the rest of our foundation, but I do it with other people as well.
And it's easy to be able to say I'm a
A
3
number.
versus I'm not doing so great.
Right.
Right? It's just
Right.
easier to type the 3 than to say, no, I'm not doing well.
Right.
People,
Well, that's
Definitely.
fantastic. I thought I was watching it fly back and forth between board members, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is fantastic. I think it happened when I was either in I was
Yeah.
on a trip somewhere and I was like seeing it. And I just love that it created an additional level of bonding to each other, but it also created a very easy way to check in with somebody. Because if obviously you score lower at the bottom, we're
Yeah.
not going to follow it up with a text message in the board chat. Someone will actually jump out of the chat and phone you personally one-on-one. So for the record today, I'm a solid 8.5. I started working out, and I'm
Wow.
at 5:30 in the morning at the Warrior Shift with Elmer, who is on our board and part of the Mental Health Initiatives Committee. And he got me a trainer, and I'm on my 7th.
That's awesome.
And I feel like I've been up for 24 hours right now, though.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's like
Yeah.
I want to add another thing. I also think that it's especially great for parents with young children to implement that score process with young kids. I think having that, like waking up every morning before school, all right, little Joe or little Sharon or Susie, what's your score this morning? And make it like a game, so that these kids, because kids are always honest, right? And
Right.
so if a kid says, hey, you know what, I'm a 4 today, why? Well, a bully is that was messing with me, and I'm going back to school, and I'm a little bit nervous or scared of the bully, so I'm not doing well. I think it's a great way to interact with your kids in terms of where they are mentally.
No, I thought it was super impressive. What's your score today?
My score is probably a 6 or 7 today. That's where I am. I'm never really as like an 8 or 9. It's very hard to be that for me, losing my daughter. You think about you know, the loss of her, the reality of it, the mental, what it does to you mentally, it stops you from really enjoying the moment because your daughter or the one you lost is always on your mind. So, you know, I've been able to get up to a 7 before. I don't think I was ever a 7, you know, after she passed. But as of late, you know, through therapy and talking and some of the some of the tools that some of our guests have told us that I also use has helped me a lot. And so I would say that's why I'm at a 7. You know, high 6, 7 is because I'm still using the tools and implementing some of those things. And also what Dr. Hamilton said, you know, on the podcast about the part of the brain, and it just gave me more a more real understanding of what this suicide thing is all about, you know? And so that was educational.
Now that's impressive, and I kind of find it. I love to hear Misty weigh in on it, but I'm going to do my unsolicited, unprofessional advice, uneducated, like untherapy advice. It's just like what resonated with me when the way you score yourself is that you don't think the 10 is unachievable. You actually think the 8 or the 9 is. Like you're not even looking at the 10.
Right.
You're just
I don't think I could be I think losing my daughter took 10 off of my
Wow.
board.
I had a feeling he was going to say that, Misty, so I kind of set it up for you to like, you know,
Yeah. I don't think I could ever be a
Yeah.
10.
yeah, I see that. I respect that. I feel that. I feel for you about that, you know, but
Yeah.
when you said 6 or 7 was even unattainable, you'll never be an 8 or a 9. You didn't even touch the 10.
Oh no, no. I could never be I just don't I can't say never, right? Because through therapy and through a lot of the tools as I mentioned, anything is possible. But right now, my vision is not 10. I'm that's a blurry number for me. I'm you know, I could possibly get up there in 9, 8, you know, but I 10 to me is everything is great. How can everything be great when I lost my daughter? You know, so to me, it's hard to fathom being a 10.
I'm trying not to. I was like, that just hit me.
Oh God. I'm just being honest
No,
with you.
it's great. No, it's great.
Yeah. You know, as we
That
get
is-
older, we go through things, right? And all these things have impacts on our life. And some of them are traumatic, and we take in trauma all different ways. And just losing my daughter, that was a trauma for me.
Yeah. Misty, your thoughts?
No, I'm first of all, I'm so proud of you that you're able to tap into those numbers in the first place.
Right.
I think like that in itself is huge. And then I heard you say that 10 is blurry. Blurry was the word that you used. So it's not like it's completely not there. It just seems like it's way out of sight.
Is out of
I'm
sight.
wondering, Robert, if you ever have moments, even if it's just a moment, that you ever feel like an 8 or 9 or close to maybe even close to a 10. Maybe it's a moment where you feel like you are fulfilled, like you saved someone's life or you've done something that just for a moment puts you, because I think I would argue, and we've talked about this in our group chat too, that our emotions kind of change throughout the day. And sometimes that number, the 1 through 10, could be as a whole, or it could be like at certain aspects of your life, right? We were chatting about that one day in there. So I'm just wondering if you ever think that there could be just even a moment where maybe you could
I
go a little bit higher.
I remember, you know, time after my daughter passed, and I just remember like being sad for a long period of time. It's hard to say. But I remember one day I said to a buddy of mine, I said, man, today is the first day I felt happy. And it was maybe a year and a half, 2 years later that is the constant battle that your mind goes through, trying to reach a level of happiness. I just got to a point where I said the word happy, like, but and that came and went. But to, you know, yes, I have little moments to answer your question, but again, attendance just unfathomable to me.
Yeah. And that makes
I
sense. I mean,
I
it
have a-
probably at some point a 6 was unfathomable to you too, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So to your point, there's a possibility. Like I said, I didn't say it was off the chart, but it is blurry.
do you
But I don't
feel-
think we need to achieve. We don't need to all be. We have to be a 10 every day, or we're failing. Or a 9 or an 8, or we're failing. Like I don't think that's reasonable either. You know, so I wasn't saying that to say like, oh, okay, you have to reach this mark. I just was curious if you
No.
ever have moments
But
where you
but
feel you do feel that happiness. So to hear you use that word,
yeah,
me happy.
Dr. Schnur also said that, remember, most people are between 3 and 7,
Yeah.
right? So when he said that, it resonated with me. Um, he said, if you are 1, you don't want to be there, and if you ever hit a 10, it's hard to stay there,
Yeah.
right? So not many people hit 10. So when I heard him say that, I felt a little comfort that, hey, maybe I am normal, that I'm in between. I'm happy. I should be happy to be in between 3 and 7. But to reach
So-
a 10 is tough.
Do you feel guilty feeling happy or striving for a 10 because of the loss? Because, like, for instance,
I think it's a mix between all of it.
okay, because for instance, I feel guilty, like if I really feel like a 10, saying that I'm a 10, because I feel judged if I say I'm a 10.
Right, right. I understand what you're saying, but I just want you to know I'm not judging you, and I don't think Misty's judging you. That's you. That's your personal opinion of you in your situation, in your life, in your moment, right?
Yeah, you're right.
At that
You don't
moment.
No,
I don't
but I
think
see what you're saying, Bailey, because it's almost like if you say you're a 10, people are like, oh, there's nothing wrong with you. Like, and
Right.
it's like a little judgy, like, oh, there's nothing.
no,
What do you mean?
but I
There's
think
nothing wrong. So I understand what you're saying.
yeah.
I think I agree, and I understand what she's saying too, but I also understand that she's saying attend for that moment, and that's just not her life, right? So I think, you know, um, I think for me, it's, to answer your question, it's just a mix of a lot of different feelings, because, you're still in your head, like, why didn't my daughter do it? What, how come I didn't save her? How come this, that? So many questions, and she's not here to answer. So
Yeah.
it's just one of those things that, that just blocks your ability for me to reach a 10.
No, and my goal is literally always a 10 though. Like my goal
Right.
on a daily basis is a 10. Like that's my personality. Like I don't want to miss you gonna say like, oh, you don't have to be perfect. I could hear it. I feel like it was coming. But like I'm like, but my goal is always a 10, because it's like if you shoot for the moon and you land among the stars, like you're still
Yeah.
still good.
You want
If I shoot
you
for a
want
10 and I hit a 9, then
Right.
awesome. But like if you don't even fathom being able to be a 10 or an 8 or a 9, then and you're shooting for like a 7, then if you miss your 7, that puts you a little lower, and then I gotta call you.
I'll tell you something. And Missy would probably, being in her field, um, be able to understand. But so I was playing golf one day, and I was with a buddy of mine, and we were in the golf cart, and beside us was like a kids park, and you could hear the kids playing. And I looked over, and these were 5-year-olds, 6-year-olds. And I said to him, man, I remember when my daughter used to play in that same park. And he said to me, oh, wow. And then he said, do you think about your daughter every hour and I said, yeah, I think about my daughter every hour of the day. And he said, well, how are you? How do you, how do you get, how are you happy? I said, well, there's moments within the hour that I'm happy. But just like how that experience of hearing those kids brought the memory of my daughter, when I'm happy, that brings the memory of my daughter. And it's hard to explain, but when I get super, super happy, like if I get up there, the memory of my daughter comes. It's like it comes to remind me, your daughter's not here. Relax, brother. Get back down. So it's like and that's tough. So it's like the moments I'm at a 7 or 6 or whatever it is, I'm happy to be there. I'm happy to have reached that.
Got it.
You got what I'm saying? It's like solving the Rubik's Cube at that moment. And then you got to resolve it. Somebody messes it up and you got to do it again. Right? For me, I'm happy that I got to that moment because I know that that moment will also remind me that I don't have my daughter anymore. Crazy, right?
No, not at all. Not at all.
Not
Right.
at all.
Do you ever?
The revelation is astounding, but not crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you ever have moments on the like on the flip side of that, where you're happy and you think of Kennedy and that helps you sustain happiness? Because it's almost like the happiness of her spirit and her.
That's what I
love is
thought it was
something that
going.
that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Like,
No.
so like you feel like her love and her happiness and sort of like you're absorbing that energy. Do you ever have those moments? Or is it
I
always
remember-
just like, I think of Kennedy and maybe I'm happy, but then I remind myself she's not here.
So I remember when I lost Kennedy and I was kind of going through the tour of
Nicholas?
people, no, the tour of people that would call me and talk to me about it who have had that experience, the same experience, whether it's in their family or someone they know. But someone told me during that time, I don't remember the person, but they told me during that time, there will become a moment in time where I will think of my daughter and then be happy thinking about her. So that time is going to come. So right now you think your daughter, you're sad, but Robert, I want you to know that there's going to be a time in the future when you think about her and you're going to have a smile on your face and you're going to be happy. Well, that time ain't come yet, and I'm still waiting.
I don't want to laugh, but because I
So,
know you, I have to
I'm
laugh.
just being real, man. I'm waiting on that. I think about that all the time, and I'm saying, man, I'm waiting. I know that the sadness isn't as bad as it was because I'm getting further and further away from the event, but I'm still waiting on that time to come where I think about her and I'm happy.
Wow.
It hasn't come yet. It's been 3 years, maybe year 4, maybe 5, maybe 6, maybe 10. I don't know, but that at least I have something to look forward to.
Okay, so I want to just give you one thing to be happy about when you think about Kennedy. Just one. It's the Kennedy Kids Foundation and all the work that you're doing. You started this.
Super happy about that.
Okay, so when you think about Kennedy, you at least have one happy thing to attach to her, the loss of her, because we're helping other families and all of the things that you've accomplished, like creating the foundation. Like you're sitting there in a life hat with a suicide prevention act
Yeah.
across your forehead. Like, the Nicholas Children's Hospital Camp Kennedy Kids aligned with such a major organization. This podcast, Misty and I are only friends because of the Kennedy Kids Foundation. Like we
Right.
would have never met Misty had it not been for this experience. And we would have never been exposed to the people and the therapy we've provided, Goodman Jewish Family Services, Seed School Miami with 256 kids, like the Dash Paint Walk, like all these things are a thought of Kennedy that you could be happy about, so that at least on purpose, when you do think about her, you can at least try to
Right.
on purpose attach some happiness to start your brain, like Dr. Hamilton was saying, training your brain, and Misty helped me out on this, training your brain to start attaching a happy memory to Kennedy. Because I know I'm not a pro in this area. I know I'm just your like sister by another mister, and I'm literally helping you with the foundation. But Misty is like the one that's skilled in life coaching and
I am very happy about everything we're doing, but I'm also, I would say the correct word is I'm proud of what we're doing. I'm proud, and I'm proud that I look at it as us saving families from this horrible event and of suicide, and saving kids from losing their lives. And I'm proud of what we're doing and what we continue to do. And I'm proud of this podcast to have raw, emotional conversations, not only from me and you guys, but from all of our guests. All of that makes me super, super proud. And that's why I could never stop trying to save the next kid.
you just saved one more kid.
Yeah,
Because
all we do, yeah,
no, I'm
100%.
telling remember the family that I was on the phone with walking into the Nicholas Children's Hospital meeting with the psychiatric team last week?
Yeah,
He reached out to me last night, and after sharing the information we got from Nicholas with her via text while we were in the meeting, they convinced him to go into an in-treatment therapy session. They shipped him out to another state to go in for 90 days of treatment, so that but that was what he was refusing to do. So congrats, Robert. Like, again, one more teenager like on the list.
that's great. And that's the whole reason we're here.
Yeah.
We're here to educate peers, get them the information, continue with the awareness, just everything that we could possibly do. And that's what we're doing. And that's why we're, it's hard work, but we're saving lives. And that makes me proud.
Misty, your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I mean, and I can understand that. I can understand the feeling of being proud, even if you're not ready to be happy yet. Cause I mean, I imagine that it's probably pretty, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I imagine that it's probably pretty difficult because, yes, as Bailey's saying, we have done all these amazing things and we have forged these relationships and all these things are happening, but it came at the steepest price that you could pay.
Yeah.
And so I'm sure that is sometimes very difficult, but also I think it's kind of important to highlight what you said about you don't know when you'll be able to think about her and be happy. And I'm hopeful, and we're all hopeful, and you're hopeful that you will be able to do that one day. And I think
Right.
the thing about grieving and about healing in general is that it's not linear and there's not a timeline on it.
Right.
So who knows when that point will come, but I
Right.
am hopeful for you that it will. And I love to hear you echo that you are hopeful for yourself, that
Yeah.
one day you'll be able to think of your daughter and kind of have a smile in your heart with that memory of her one day.
One day. Yeah.
One day. Because Robert, I give you so much credit. I mean, how many people would have shut down? How many people would have gone into self-medication? How many people would have done all these like destructive things or turned their back on their family and their friends because they just simply couldn't? And it's
Yeah.
understandable. It's understandable. They just didn't know how else to deal with it. So I give you so much credit because you can fight for yourself and your family. And now others, strangers,
Right.
every
Yeah.
day.
I give a lot of that credit to my coaches that instill discipline and no quit and fight. That's all I could think about during that time was, this is a difficult time and you got to fight. And there's been a lot of difficult times growing up in football and hearing the coaches constantly, beat into your brain. Don't quit, never quit. Football is like the game of life. There's going to be ups and downs. There's going to be wins and losses, but you got to wake up the next day and keep fighting. And that's what I leaned on a lot was the get up and fight, the discipline and this and how tough it is, but you can do it. And I've been through so much, and I think that training really helped me, and it's weird. It's a weird feeling because I said to someone that, you know, it's almost like I was trained for this. And for people who didn't have that kind of upbringing in a sport that
Mhm.
that that coaches were on them and train them at this kind of mental level, I am here to start the foundation to help them, right? Because I have the mental strength to do it through the tough time, right? While the sadness is happening around me, my family and everything, just to start the foundation and give back because I'm mentally tough. But I'm looking at these people that we're going to help who may not be mentally tough, so they really need the extra help from us to get to that place where they get therapy so they can become mentally tough.
Yeah, and I love what you shared about that, and I can identify only to a certain degree because I was not a professional athlete, and I certainly
Right.
have lost a child. But I will say that when I share my story about my fight with anxiety and depression and suicidal ideation and all these things, particularly when I was younger, and even when it's resurfaced as an adult. If people say, "Oh, why do you work in sports?" Yes, sports. I grew up in sports. I love sports. I was a cheerleader. I was a coach. I did all these things. But the funny part is, like, with my mental health, like, that's where I learned things. Oh, don't be weak, don't be soft, all these other things. But then the other part of the story that I always share is that's what also taught me to be really competitive and dig deep and not
Right.
quit and all these things that you're saying. Like, that's where I got that from.
Right.
Right. So thank God I had that
Right. And there's not many people who
instilled
do
in
this.
me.
Right.
Yes. Through my dad was a coach, so I lived in that kind of environment at home. And it was like, like that part that was so hard for me to reconcile, like, oh, be tougher. It also, in a way, has saved my life
Right.
because I've been able to dig into that. So, for whatever it's worth, at least at a fractional sense of what you've just shared, I can identify with that part.
Right. And I remember times when coaches would say, "Man, Bailey, we're trying to break you. We can't break you. You've been trying, and we watch you. You never
That's like the
quit.
biggest compliment.
Yeah." The coach said to me, "Dog, you're always smiling. We always trying to break you, and we can't break you, man. I want to, give you credit because we've tried to break you. We've made you run extra. We've done it, and we just can't break you." And those moments stick with me, and it lets me know I'm a tough person. I'm a very disciplined and no quit attitude type of person. And just him telling me that and reinforces my mind that I am tough and that nothing can break me. And so that got, that all those messages and all those, that journey through sports has definitely helped me through this tough time of losing my daughter. It's been, that's why I try to be there for other people in our family and people who didn't play sports, like Tina's and mother. I try to be understanding and help her, and that's why I started this foundation because I know there's other families out there that don't have a Robert Bailey in their family or don't have an athlete in their family. And when these things happen, they don't have this person to lean on that's within their circle, right? So, or don't even know what to do or no therapy or any, you know what I mean? They don't have it. So I said, we definitely need a foundation, the Kennedy Kids Foundation, that will not only bring the awareness, but also, be hands-on and bring all the information and resources. And we go out into the community and fundraise and help other foundations, help other charities, and just do as much as we can by touching as many people as we can.
Listen, I'm over here wondering what it would have meant to have broken you. Like, what were the coaches attempting to accomplish? Like, what did they want you to break the leg? They want you to break down and cry. They want you to just break down and quit.
Might have quit.
But
They were testing me. They were testing me to see if I would quit.
Yeah.
oh
They
god,
You know, they're testing me to see if I would quit. A lot of in football, we run these things called gassers, and there's always guys that are in the front, and I was always one of those guys in the front, and I would always be the guy talking a lot of trash. Coach, this ain't enough. Coach, this ain't hurting. Coach, this, you're
Oh my God, you were that guy.
yeah, you're running this week, coach. You're running this week. And then, oh, okay, baby, we got 5 more because of Bailey. And then, I would just keep going and keep going and keep going. I've been on teams where, in the NFL, where in the middle of the night, guys got in their cars and left and quit football and left in the middle of the night in training camp and left. I wake up and we're in meetings and coach is like, where's Jim? I don't know. He was gone in the morning, and then they called his parents, and he's on the highway back home, driving through states, going back home. He quit. But I just never even came into my mind to quit because of the way I was brought up and the
I was
things.
gonna ask you that. Is that part of your parents' influence too, you think?
No.
No, not at all.
I think it was.
whoopings.
I think it was literally coaches.
Wow.
The Little League coaches. It wasn't my mom. My mother's a very tough person, and I grew up with my mom. Really didn't grow up with my dad in the house. I grew up with my mom, and she worked a lot. But when we came from Barbados to America, and I found football, and I got into football in Miami, football in Florida is really, really serious. It's a really serious sport in Florida, even as little kids. And
Yeah, do you know my brother, he just told me this story the other day. That's like just to kind of like illustrate that, and I'm sure you can identify this in Pee Wee, in Optimus football, people would like offer him money if he got certain hits and stuff like that. A little kid,
Yeah.
elementary school.
yeah,
You think this
100%.
ain't happen? I'm gonna give you $20.
Yeah, 100%.
Florida is FAFO when it comes to football.
Yeah, Florida when it
like-
comes to football.
I never knew that.
Right.
I'm like,
And
what?
these coaches have these little kids pushing sleds and running and doing
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that and grabbing your helmet and cussing you out, screaming in your helmet and throwing you down, and you got to get up. And I remember those days. I remember getting up and wanting to cry and just get back in the line and do it again and do it again. And you do it so many times for so many years that it becomes normal that, hey, I don't care what they do to me. I ain't gonna quit. Right. So it got to the point where I would judge coaches by how tough they were. Like if they were going to be tough on us. If a coach wasn't tough on us, it's like I didn't have respect for them. I was like, you're not a good coach. Right.
That's
and
funny.
and running this and then if this these gashers ain't nothing. 5 gashers, I did 20 gashers. I used to do 20. It's just I just grew up. These coaches just instilled that toughness in me, and ultimately that's what helped me get to the NFL and helped me have the success I had in the NFL because I was really tougher than a lot of guys that. NFL teams are made up of a lot of players from all over the country. And there's this stigma that when guys meet you and they find out you're from Florida,
It's different.
they go, "Oh, he's a Florida boy."
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they just know we're
Yeah.
tougher and just better football players. They always go, you never heard anybody say, "Oh, he's a New York boy," or
Yeah.
"Oh, he's a Michigan boy." You know what I mean? No, it was, "Oh, you from Miami? Oh, he's gonna be a good football player." That is that's literally how it was. Even on NFL teams, Florida players are just tough guys that probably played football since they could walk, and they've been in this sun and playing football, Pee Wee football, and it's just a different, it's just a different landscape
Our
here.
first take a lot, and like on like all the sports shows where they talk about when they talk about football players from Florida, that is the consistent verbiage consistently. It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, Florida is probably, I would say, not probably, is the number one state for football. I would say then probably Texas or
Yeah.
California is 2, and then the other one is 3. But for the most part, it is common around the entire country that you will get your your best football players from the southeast part of the country, and it starts in Florida and Georgia, Alabama. That's where, and then into Texas. That's where the best football players come from. And then on the West
Their
Coast
headquarters
is
in the right
California.
state.
Yeah, yeah. So think about it. Florida's the only state, right, we have the most football teams in the entire country. Florida has the most college football teams, and it has the most pro football teams in one state.
And what about IMG Academy, that high school that just like pumps out?
Yeah, IMG Academy is in Florida.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
St. Thomas.
That's why people send their kids for professional sports at a young age. They send them to like a boarded school for sports, and it's soccer, football, basketball, all these different volleyball, and they only take the best.
yeah.
And that's in Florida. So, I don't know if it's in the water. I don't know if it's the weather. I don't know what it is.
It's in the sun.
Yes,
Yeah,
but
you have all year round where you're outside practicing all year round here versus like if you're in Colorado or you're in Montana or you're in some cold weather state, you're constantly you're inside most of the year versus here, we're outside all of the year.
Right.
But I also think like the talent's at another level, and so it just continues to stack.
Yeah.
Because if you know, like the talent is here, that means you got to be here, and so it's constantly like, under,
No.
Yeah.
So back to mental health portion. I know we've got just a little bit of time left on our podcast today, but I really would like Misty to talk about her app that she just developed because like, we should put Robert on the app, and get Robert on the app and running through some of the practices and stuff. Cause I'd love to see Robert at an 8.5 to a 9 on a regular basis if he's comfortable with that, when he's comfortable with that, like I don't want my boy at a.
I told Misty I'm going to get on her app. Misty, go ahead and talk about the app and tell the listeners and viewers about it.
So, well, thanks for asking about that and bringing that up. It's new. So I'm constantly tweaking it and making updates to it. It's called Zenletes, Zenletes. So the concept is Zen plus athletes put you together as Zenletes. And basically
an athlete.
Yes, exactly.
I love that. I love that.
But so the concept is it's geared for athletes, although literally anyone can use it. And you go in there and it's meant to be a mental conditioning. So we had, to your point, Dr. Hamilton on, and he was talking about how you can train your brain. And we know we know neuroplasticity and all these things exist in our brain scientifically. So we know we can train it to be stronger and do this mental conditioning and get in the mental reps. But the question became, how do you do that? So I developed this app, Zenletes, and you go in there. It's really simple. You just log in, you get in your dashboard every day, and there's 4 simple exercises. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to set your intention for day, meaning this is how I want to show up, right? So today I'm going to show up with this kind of attitude or this kind of
show up as a 10.
Whatever your intention is. So my intention is this for the day. You're going to track your mood 1 through 10. Where am I today? You're going to set an affirmation of the day that kind of may echo your intention for the day to help you really seal it in. Then you're going to you're going to list 3 things you're grateful for. There's a gratitude prompt in there. And then your last step is there is a mental conditioning in there. Usually only takes about max 5 minutes, but it's a different mental conditioning exercise almost every day. It rotates. Where you can practice strengthening your mindset through focused breathing, through different ways of strengthening your mindset, right? So it's basically you just log in and boom, like you set your tone for the day, you're tracking how you are. Then you can go in there. There's a whole section just for meditation. So let's say you want to do extra work, or you only have 60 seconds and you're really stressed. Hit the 60-second reset meditation. Listen to that one. There's one for sleep. There's one for confidence. There's one for this. There's one for that. Constantly adding new ones in there. There's journal prompts in there. So there's all kinds of stuff in there. But the main thing is, even if you don't have a lot of time, is just that maybe 5 minutes that you're going to spend in the morning, setting your intention, tracking your mood, setting your affirmation, 3 things I'm grateful for, and then doing your mental conditioning exercise of the day. And then you're going to track that, right? There's a progress tracker in there. So you can see, where has my mood been? You can see the trend on the graphic. You can go back and look at your history of what have I done with what's my affirmation, my intention, and my gratitude checklist. What does that look like over the past week, the past month? And it helps you self-reflect as well, right? To see, oh, okay, like my mood is here and now it's kind of up here. Or maybe it's been low for a few days, so I need to do something about that. That kind of stuff. So it's really just a tool to help you. And it's completely and totally free. And it's just there to help you begin to get in the mental conditioning reps, be more mindful about how you're showing up for the day, but also check in with yourself. And so that's essentially the
This is beautiful. I love the idea of this. I did not
I
know
love
that.
it.
Free, by the way. Like, wow, amazing.
completely free. Yeah.
Amazing. So a first question is, one, how do they find it? Like, where do you go to get Zen leads?
If
Do
you
go
want
the
to
App
sign
Store?
up. No, I'm glad you asked that. It's a web-based app. So you can't go to your app store and get it. You have to go to Zenletes, ZENLETES.com, and you sign up for your account right there. And then there's a prompt when you log in, and it'll tell you how to add it to your home screen so that it acts just like an app. So you're going to have an icon on your phone home screen, just like you would like an app. The nice thing about it is that you never have to do updates. Whenever I do an update, because it's web-based, you guys automatically get it. You don't need to do it in the store.
Oh, that's super cool.
Yeah. So that's what made it, that was one of the appeals of doing it that way versus putting it in a store.
I highly recommend that you share that in the board chat with the board and invite them, like open it up to them and invite them, like give it to them as a gift and just be like, hey, I'd love to invite you. I created this app, and share that with the board, because I think that would be great for everyone to use, but also these are the people that are going to give you feedback on the app while you're in
Right.
the portion.
I have an idea.
And then okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Second question just was, before we change subjects, was the affirmation section.
Yeah.
The second step.
Yes.
Do they do it? Does it give you affirmation prompts, or do you have to write your own affirmation?
Either way you want to do it. So there's a whole list of prompts. They're categorized by like performance, mindfulness, recovery, faith, whatever it is, or you write your own.
Awesome. Okay, go ahead. What was your idea, Robert?
Okay, I have an idea. I think, Misty, you should record yourself doing a tutorial on Zenletes, going into the platform, something that you're going to upload onto YouTube. That way you can then show people how to get on, right?
Yeah.
And and create that whole process. And then let's do an event where Kennedy kids and Zenletes meet at maybe a restaurant or something, and everyone that comes, you'll show everyone how to get on and with the app, and it's kind of like your kickoff party.
Oh, that's a good idea.
I have a great location for her. How about when we do the art event during Art Miami week on that Friday,
You
Saturday?
do it then.
Yeah, she could do the VIP night, and then she could showcase it, the 10 to 6 portion, the Saturday and the Sunday, with all of the guests that we have coming through.
Right.
And so
And then
you enjoy the art show, you buy some of the art because the proceeds all benefit Kennedy Kids Foundation, but then you also get a free account on Zenletes.com to manage your mental health. I mean, genius.
You see, guys. So listeners, this is what happens all the time, by the way. This is, so you just kind of got like a sneak peek of what happens in our board chats and board meetings and just among our conversations with one another. We're always
So
shooting off ideas.
before we wrap, I'm going to just give you my little outro about the Kennedy Kids Foundation on our latest update. We recently had the 5K, and we just wanted to take a moment on the podcast to share today how amazing and grateful we are to all of the supporters and partners and runners and walkers and volunteers that we had come out, especially our board members and our committees that support the event. This year was our biggest year. We had 389 runners. That's not our biggest runners number, but it is our biggest year dollar-wise, because we did $80,552.63, including the in-kind donations. So woo to the Kennedy Kids family and team for such an amazing showing. We had 100 volunteers at Barry University that day. Our race was sponsored by Emerald Bank, so we are just so grateful. Lynx Medical came out and came in for the win as one of our partners, and that's Dr. Schnur that we've referenced so many times during the call. And of course, the All Florida Home Team made a showing and created our Kids Zone this year. So kids are always welcome. But at the Kennedy Kids Foundation, we are literally here for you. We are here for your family. And if you or a loved one you know is struggling, please reach out to a member of our team. You can find us on the website at kennedykids.org. You could visit our resource tab to visit any of our partners and find out about all of our information. In the programs tab, you'll see more information about our scholarship program, our teen ambassador program, and Camp Kennedy Kids at Nicholas Children's Hospital, which was created for teens struggling with mental health. So if you or someone you know, again, is struggling, immediately have them reach out to 988. But of course, if it's an emergency, have them dial 911. And as always, I'm so grateful to my co-hosts for participating in this roundtable discussion today. It's always an amazing time with all of you. And Robert, if you are a 6 and you want to be a 10, just come have lunch with me.
Oh,
That's a great one. That's a great one.
You know, we love you. We're always
I
here
love you guys.
to you to be
Bailey,
a
Bailey, I think you have that hanger business because you're always helping people take off.
Yeah,
Oh, thanks. I love
that
that.
was a good one. That was a good one, Misty.
Wow, the music are popping. All right, guys, that's all the time we have today for our show. Thanks, Ben.
One day we gon' get
Thanks,
on.
Ben.